Good evening, folks. Brian here, Geomagnetic Earth Watch on Wednesday, November 8, 2023 on our planet. Let's go over a couple of things, just a couple of things this evening. First, let's start off with the Banda earthquake yesterday, Indonesia. Second time this year. So I'm calling it a mantle plume event, such as I described last July 9th when it happened. So please remember my visualization of the mantle plumes which are anchored to the outer core of our planet, where our magnetic field is generated from, where those changes undergoing because of the external influences driving up that harder material to the mantle plume head when it comes to the underside of the lithosphere, of which the crust sits upon in the oceans. The head can spread to thousands of kilometers in diameter. So it can have branches, arms, nodes, pushing up underneath the crust, as well as causing lithospheric melting, thinning of the crust. So we had two events. Yesterday's 7.2 earthquake was preceded 2 hours before at approximately 7,700 kilometers away by a tsunami buoy in the Arabian Sea going into event mode. I don't understand, Brian. That's so far away. No, it's not. Oh, no. Remember, right? Branches, arms, nodes, pushing up on the other side of the seafloor. Such as it happened last July, January 9th. So the first precursor was that tsunami buoy going into motion in the Arabian Sea. There are a number of other precursor indications. Now, Indonesia is my wife's country, so obviously I watch it very closely. Not that anybody in my family listens to me, no. I still watch it nevertheless. So remember last October 11th, and then 2 weeks later, that massive spread of heat signatures on the north side of Australia, the Timor Sea, going into the Banda Sea, the Flores Sea, the Java Sea, the Malacca Sea. Over 400 individual heat indications picked up by the satellites, obviously indicating a lot of heat coming up. And then you remember East Timor, a series of earthquakes. They deleted the 6.4, the 6.2. They left the remaining and downgraded to a 5.8. And the Banda Sea arc is always having deep earthquake activities, always. Some may have been aftershocks from the last July 9th earthquake, but it's not over. One moment, please. Have you been taking your daily jabs? Smoothies? Beets, blueberry, strawberry, pineapple. Beets, anti-cause cancer. Strawberry, anti-inflammatory. The fibers from pineapple scrubs the inside lining of the gut. Gut cleaning. To continue. Last January 9, we had the, I believe it came in as a 7.8, downgraded to a 7.6, 7.4. Following that, however, on January 17, northeast of Sulawesi, a 7.2 or a 7.3. 5 minutes later, a deep earthquake offshore New Zealand. A very deep earthquake. All right. Going back to the January 9 Banda Sea earthquake. At the same time as that earthquake, way up north of that, the Philippine Sea, 2 tsunami buoys went into motion. Okay. Right. If this was the Banda Sea, my knuckles is Sulawesi and the Ridge of Violence, Philippine Sea. Tsunami Boy's not activated. Tsunami Boy's not activated. Tsunami Boy's way up here activated. Why? Well, okay, pushing up on the floor of the ocean. Last night event is not over. Something else will happen. We're not too sure where. There's a deep earthquake at Java Sea offshore of Bali. Now, every once in a while, there's deep earthquakes there. But it's not over. So that's all I want to say about the Banda Sea earthquake yesterday. So I noticed comments on other people's YouTube, Facebook pages. I see someone wrote down that they think we're already in Luke 21, verse 20. They think it's already happening. Foolish people. Desolation is near. The armies of the Antichrist will surround the camp of God's people. But God's fire came down from heaven and devoured them. You're forgetting something. The Antichrist isn't here yet. Yes, his spirit is here and is very strong and is very powerful. Even I felt it. He is not here yet. He does not emerge from the sea of people until the second half of tribulation, and he shall suffer a headwind which should be fatal, but he recovers from. There's a clue who it's going to be. It hasn't happened yet. He will then gather a nations of 10 and march into Jerusalem. It's not happening now, just because of what you see in the news and what's happening in the Middle East. You cannot pick one single event and eliminate everything else. And to say, oh, it's already started, we're already in tribulation. Just like someone wrote down, 2019 tribulation started. Where is the Antichrist? Where's the beginnings of sorrows? Where's the earth pains? Foolish people. You need to understand. We haven't even gone through the beginnings of sorrows, the earth pains, the birthing pains. When humanity sinks into the deepest depths of despair and depression and losses, then the Antichrist will emerge and be seen as the Messiah, yet falsely so, yet seen by everybody, not everybody, most of the people, as a person of saviorship from their despair. What do we have to go through before then? Something that hasn't started yet. We haven't gone through the beginnings of sorrows, the birthing pains. It's not only just kingdom against kingdom and nations against nations, the wars and the rumors of wars. Where's the great devastating earthquakes, the famines, and the pestilence everywhere in diverse places? Where are they? All these things must first happen. Then it gets worse. Then he will gather the nations of 10 and march into Jerusalem. It's not happening now. People, there has to be a mass socio-political upheaval and human catastrophes, crisis, and all the natural disasters. First, once these things begin, then the conditions of the world will worsen until the childbirth is complete. You can't pick only the one thing and leave everything else out in your ignorance. I was watching a YouTube channel a few days ago, and it was suggested, were the gates of CERN opened up to reveal the gates of hell? No, come on. The Creator opened up the door ajar just a little bit to give us a preview of what is to come and to give us a chance to change our ways. Such as the 3 secrets of Fatima. Unfortunately, the peoples are only the conduit for evil, not the source. The people of the world, in their protests, are only the conduits for Satan's spirit of influence. As well as the societal progression towards sin by his influence. Eroding the moral boundaries in our schools, our governments, and even in our churches. Because that is the beginning of the first part of the 3rd secret of Fatima. The falling away of the pert church. And he will assume his throne on the seat of Peter, St. Peter. So after the events that are the beginnings of the sorrows, and after the worsening of the labor pains, then there will be the Great Tribulation. In times of great catastrophes and anguish. And of course, we have a foretelling of these events through his playlist. It's all written down. You shouldn't follow any other fear porn playlist. And everything must culminate together. The wars and the rumors of wars and the kingdoms and against kingdoms and the nations against nations and the great catastrophic earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, along with the pestilence and famines in diverse places for everybody to experience and suffer from. Where is it? With all the earth changes taking place, he's just cracked open the door a little bit for us to see what's coming. And yet some of you people think you're going to escape all that. Okay, it's coming. Yep, we're going home. Yep. Yep. Israel's being surrounded. This is it. This is the end times. Maybe you should do as I do and refresh your memory, reboot your systems, and start from the very beginning in the first book. Takes a long time. Don't just jump ahead to the final chapter of the 66th book, because there's a lot of other important information before then. Don't cheat in school. There's a lot of passion out there right now. There's a lot of hatred. He hasn't given you hatred. He has. A lot of people are picking sides. They only want to see the one side of their faith, of their religion, and ignore the other atrocities. That is but a grain of sand in the entire world's deserts of what's going to be happening. So, in my opinion,
Open, please.
Of course I can, buddy. I'm doing a video. You want to be famous? The whole world can see? No? There you go.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Shy. Where was I? Tiny speck of grain of sand in all the world's deserts. That's what you are right now. That's the only thing you've seen. My personal observational opinion. And it's easy to lose sight of everything else that's happening in the world. Our greatly destabilizing and weakening protective magnetosphere. Those red auroras is not something pretty to see. It's interacting with the atmospheric oxygen atoms now. And all those telecommunication outages, Australia, England, Northeast England, Heathrow Airport, Eastern Ukraine, and my province of British Columbia all at the same time. When the World Economic Forum forewarns us of great cyber attacks and losses of the internet, that's the cover story. All of this happened when we entered into the accelerated solar wind stream, right after the CMEs that hit us. I do not think it's a hack. If it is, there's going to be a lot more hacks, and we're going to be losing a lot more. Anyway, pay attention, everybody from all around Australia. The crustal thickness of Australia is a lot thicker, so it's going to be absorbing a lot of that energy. Whereas the oceanic crusts of the Banda Sea is a lot thinner. And that's where we're going to see the next series of events. I don't know where. Java Sea, Molucca Sea again, who knows? The energy seems to be progressing up to the north region of the Banda Sea. That's it for now, folks.